Howdy, and welcome to Mo's World, the baseball podcast. We're excited to bring you our latest episode. Your feedback is important to us, so please feel free to share your comments. Awesome. If you enjoy the podcast, spread the word to your friends. Welcome to episode 30, season 2, where we dive into the concept of the window of opportunity. Yep, every team gets a shot, a limited stretch where their current roster has the talent, the chemistry, and form to truly contend for a World Series. Now, thanks to free agency and rising contracts, for most teams, this prime window lasts about 5 years. We're not talking about teams simply staying competitive. We're talking about those rare moments when everything aligns, when a team can go all the way. This is the elusive window of opportunity that every owner and fan hopes for. Let's break it down and get more specific. Obviously, some organizations are committed to producing a winning team more often than others. We get used to this and expect these teams to be competitive throughout the years. Which teams are those? Well, these are teams that are committed to a winning organization. You'll recognize probably everyone: the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the Houston Astros, the Atlanta Braves, the Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Diego Padres. So we consider those committed winning organizations. And don't misunderstand, it has a lot to do with friggin' money, right? I mean, the Dodgers lead the payroll of this year for $340 million. The Mets are at $339. The Yankees at $298. The Phillies at $288. We just said those same teams, right? Houston's at $231. San Diego's at $215. Atlanta's at $214, and the Cubs at 10th, tops at $210. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean spending money is going to guarantee you anything. The top 15 payrolls in Major League Baseball seem to match up pretty close to the list of the teams we just said. One's trying to stay competitive year after year. The surprising team for me are the Boston Red Sox. They're 12th in Major League Baseball in total payroll at $197 million. But that's because of an organizational change made in the recent past. To reduce payroll and spending after they won the World Series in 2018. Dave Dombrowski was fired in September of 2019 due to a disappointing season following their 2018 World Series win. And ownership sought a more, as they called it, a process-oriented approach to rebuild the team, which Dombrowski's style supposedly did not align with. He clashed with ownership over spending, and a lack of successful offseason moves contributed to that decision. Well, that's basically bullshit, right? Ownership told him to form a team to win the World Series, not set up a team for years of dominance. They didn't like that they were not built for a dynasty, He created a team to win in a small window of opportunity, and then eventually got him fired. So teams want both. They want to stay competitive to satisfy the fans and watch the payroll and roster as well. Not many organizations can walk this fine line. So let's talk a little bit about the teams that do indeed seem committed to putting a team out on the field that wins. We have to start with the New York Yankees. Now, the Yankees are one of the teams that are at the end of their window of opportunity to win. And when I say win, I mean the World Series. The Yankees' window of opportunity started surprisingly in 2017 with the Baby Bombers, and they battled the cheating Astros to get in the World Series. The Yankees followed that up with winning seasons of 100, 103, the pandemic season of 33, then 92 and 99 wins in the next 5 years, all missing out on the World Series. Last year was their 8th year of their closing window. It's pretty obvious that their team leaders and stars, Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, will not see a World Series win in their remaining years with the Yankees. Last year's disaster and embarrassment in the World Series loss to the Dodgers showed how far this team is from winning. Sorry, Yankee fans, it will be another 5 years minimum before this team wins a World Series. On to the Boston Red Sox. I believe the Red Sox have just entered their window of opportunity with this young team. They are producing young stars, and with key free agent acquisitions, they've made this team into a player. So enjoy the possibilities, Red Sox Nation. So teams that spend to win, who else? Philadelphia Phillies. And their window is closing for this team as well. The aging of Bryce Harper, that's so weird to say. Kyle Schwarber as a potential free agent. Bryson Scott as a free agent after 2025. Alex Bohm is a free agent. JT Real Muto is a free agent. Max Kepler is a free agent. And the pitchers, Ranger Suarez is a free agent after this year. Trade deadline pickup Duran is also a free agent after 2025. So expect a new team next year. That makes this team right now with the last chance to win a World Series. Their window of opportunity is over. The time to win is now. Now, don't think that these players don't know this. Watch the Phillies. You know, they've produced win totals of 82, 87, 90, and 95 the past years, and this year's total so far will probably be in that range. So, I got to say, watch the Phillies. The Atlanta Braves, well, their window of opportunity pretty much is ending soon as well. Since 2019, the Braves have produced 97 wins, 35 in the pandemic, 88 wins and a World Series, 101, 104, 89, and then this year's pitiful total. So, they are in the 6th year of basically the same team. But the Braves have struggled for the 2nd year in a row. Why? Well, you know, we've touched on various factors this year, from key injuries to underperforming stars, and typical bad pitching that's haunting the entire league. And you know what we're talking about. It's the bullpens imploding. Now, I imagined a string of World Series titles after 2021, but it just goes to show how difficult that is to accomplish. So get ready, Braves fans. A new team is arriving next year. We also have the New York Mets, the Chicago Cubs, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the San Diego Padres. Now, these teams struggled to put a cohesive team on the field. They're trying to build a window. The Mets have many players who are established, but they're still not ready to win. The Cubs have committed to win and were very surprisingly good early in the year. But they have holes and issues with age. It will be interesting to see if the Cubs can retain Kyle Tucker. As for the Padres, ever since the death of owner Peter Seidler, the Padres are a mess. Internal battling over leadership and money issues and payrolls. I mean, just look at their the payroll, the way it's gone. This year, it's at $215.3 million. Last year, they dumped salary and it got down to $170.9 because they couldn't pay the salaries. 2023, the last year of Peter Seidler ownership, the payroll was $253.5. You'll never see that from the Padres ever again, I think. Now, he wasn't afraid to spend, but beware of this new ownership. They may be leaving this list as an ownership group willing to spend. Houston Astros. The window's closed. I'm sorry, it's shut. There's not even a screen up anymore. But the Astros are in a great division to milk it out and hang tough. All they need to do is have a hot playoff run to extend their window, which has been open since 2017. They've produced win totals of 101, 103, 107, 29 in the pandemic, 95, 106, 90, 88. Holy cow. And of course, this year's total's not listed, but due to the weak division, it's extended their window of opportunity for 9 years. Holy shit. So, Astro fans, enjoy it while it lasts. Alrighty. Last but certainly not least, the Dodgers. The Dodgers have produced 12 seasons in a row with over 90 wins. And that's not including this year's probable total of over 90, which will make it 13 seasons of success. Need I say more? They are the premier organization in Major League Baseball, passing the New York Yankees in the aura of getting players who they want. Say what you will, the Dodgers strive to win. But what about other organizations and their thoughts on the window of opportunity? Well, organizations that tease, that produce a team from year to year that is just teasing you. Well, here we go. Those teams are the Toronto Blue Jays, the Detroit Tigers, the Cleveland Guardians, the Seattle Mariners, the Los Angeles Angels, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Texas Rangers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the San Francisco Giants. Now, these teams have shown they're willing to spend, and, well, sometimes. Like, take Toronto, for instance. They've been a pretty competitive team for most of its existence since 1977. That's 48 years of existence, and they have 25 winning seasons, even producing back-to-back World Series titles in 92 and 93. And they had a nice run of good teams from 83 to 93. Then they kind of teased all the other years. In the past 5 years, I'd have to say the Blue Jays were picked as preseason favorites quite a few times, but they never performed up to the task. So, re-signing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was a huge decision, but others have walked, and this team is changing. Currently, they sit at a team age of 28, which is pretty much at league average of 27.9 years. But Chris Bassett, Ernie Clement, Dalton Varsho, Max Scherzer, Bo Bichette, and Kevin Gausman, they're all leaving at the end of this year. So, woohoo! Now the Tigers, they are currently in a major window of opportunity for them. As for the other teams designated as a tease, that is what they are. Producing teams from year to year that tease, and they stay incredibly competitive. It's still kudos to all these teams because you never know. Like this year, the Milwaukee Brewers, everything is clicking. Who would have thought after trading their top reliever of Devin Williams and losing their top shortstop as well, that they would bounce back? But they have, and they're staying incredibly competitive in a competitive division. Now, the next organizations, these are the fun ones, right? We've got organizations that are, well, sorry, they're just cheap fucks. And they consist of the Tampa Bay Rays, the Baltimore Orioles, the Kansas City Royals, the Minnesota Twins, the Chicago White Sox, the A's, the Miami Marlins, the Washington Nationals, the Cincinnati Reds, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Colorado Rockies. Holy shit. Now, we have discussed numerous teams on this list in the history of the podcast, and they will all be on the forefront of future CBA discussions, as this group will probably form a group that's going to be quite interesting. You know how I feel about these teams, and if you are curious or haven't heard many of the past podcasts, go back and look at Season 1, Episode 6, RSNs, or Season 1, Episode 21, GMs and Managers on the Hot Seat. Season 2, we talked about in Episode 7, the Rays and the A's. And in Season 2, Episode 8, we touched on the future of the CBA. Now, just a few on this subject. I found it disgusting that out of 30 teams in Major League Baseball, 11 I just listed are not committed to producing a winning team for the sheer aspect of they don't want to spend money. Why are these owners allowed to continue? There needs to be a competitive clause in the next CBA. Owners need responsibility if they want to tank, especially if public funding is involved in future ballparks. Looking at the list above, I feel that the Cincinnati Reds, the Baltimore Orioles, the Kansas City Royals, and the friggin' A's have some of the best talent in Major League Baseball. Yet they are missing a front office that gives a shit or takes pride in producing a winning team. Saying they can't compete with top team salaries, so instead of getting creative, they tank. If you are one of these cheap fuck owner fans, you need to get involved for your team. Well, before I get too riled up, I think I better wrap this up. Thank you for joining us for our 30th episode of Season 2, Mo's World, the Baseball Podcast. Our regular schedule for new episodes is every Friday, with each episode lasting approximately 20 minutes. We appreciate your support and encourage you to share the podcast with your friends. Our next episode will be released on Friday, August 22nd. We look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, ask yourself, whose world is it? It's Mo's World.